has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you to. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends, for everything that I learned from my Father I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit, fruit that will last, and so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. This is my command: love each other.
All over the world, people are hurting and in need. But by giving to the weak of compassion, you extend the love of Christ to help heal and provide hope. So now, where there is hunger, you are here. Where water is scarce, you are here. When natural disasters take away everything, you are here. And where people are in need of clothing and shelter, you are here. When you give through a week of compassion to any of those who suffer, you let them know Christ is present, and you are here.
I love it when it works like it's supposed to. Week of Compassion isn't until February 19th through the 26th of this month, so why are we talking about it today? Well, we're talking about it today because, quite frankly, a week isn't long enough. When we gather as the church, we gather on purpose to do great things and to change the world. And so I've actually titled this sermon, Love, Compassion, and You. So everyone, if you've been here, we can remember the great command, right? God calls us to love. Okay, now remember, the signals haven't changed. They really haven't. Now those of you who haven't been here, you're off the hook. But God calls us, first and foremost, to love and love others. All right, so we're not doing the rest of them. That's next week. And the week after. And in a year. Because I want us to really know and understand what God has really called and commanded us to do as his disciples. It's really pretty simple. We are called to love God and to love others. And everything that we do as a church, we should be able to see how that action is doing one or the other or both. So what's the deal about this love and compassion thing? Well, the Week of Compassion has been around for a very long time. We've been taking this Week of Compassion offering for over 40 years. It comes around every February, and you know, those committees, that all that Week of Compassion offering is coming up. Well, let me tell you about the Week of Compassion. The Week of Compassion changes people's lives. Well, all it is an offering. Well, that offering, which has virtually no administrative cost, goes to help people. Yeah, but those are just people way far away, and it never affects us. Well, let me tell you. 2 years ago, on the day after Christmas, the Dallas County area was smashed to smithereens by 6 tornadoes. The first aid group on the site was not the American Red Cross. It wasn't Catholic Charities. It wasn't the Methodist ministries. It was Week of Compassion. Why? Because Week of Compassion has been responding to these kinds of things all over the country, all around the world. And they know how to do it in a hurry. It just so happens that the region of Oklahoma has a tornado response team and wagon that they can deliver anywhere very quickly. So you were there. I can remember stories about drought in Ethiopia and other places, and Week of Compassion was there. There have been major fires happening the last few years in California when people's homes were being burned. Week of Compassion was responding. Why is a week not enough? Because I don't know if you've noticed, but disasters don't happen just one time a year. And God calls us to love and to be compassionate. Because you see, here's what I'm going to tell you, and this is really the easiest thing of the day. Love, compassion in you. Compassion is really just love in action. When we care about people, we're loving them. Jesus said, love your neighbors, and you know, all the stories that came out about that. Every time they turned around, they were being told to take care of people. Heal the sick. Give sight to the blind. Help the lame to walk. Clothe the naked. Feed the hungry. Over and over again. You see, this compassion thing is something we've been really commanded to do. James 5:11 says, the Lord is full of compassion. And that means for us to be like Jesus, we have to be filled with compassion. Ephesians 4:32 tells us, be kind and compassionate to one another. Have you ever just wanted to now I'm going to show you my human-based side here. Just slap someone upside the head for being ridiculous. How many of you have ever had that move? No, and it's not very, I don't recommend, and here's the deal, if you come to me for pastoral counseling, the odds are really good I won't slap you upside the head. There's always one in the crowd. You've been cut off by a car. You've missed the best parking lot because you had your blinker on and somebody slid in just in front of you. James and Ephesians tells us, be compassionate. So what does it mean to be compassionate? Well, our scriptures from today help us to understand. Matthew 9:36. When Jesus saw the crowds, he had compassion on them. Do you see crowds with compassion? Do you look around the room and feel compassion? Do you see the needs of the people that you're sitting next to, sitting by, or going through the line at the grocery store or any other place? Do you see them with the eyes of Jesus, this compassionate look? Listen to this. Jesus, when he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. In other words, they were unprotected. people do we know that go through life unprotected? All of these children. I have a friend who's a social worker, and she says the need in Lane County for foster parents is higher now than it's ever been in history. Sheep without a shepherd. Single parents. The mentally challenged. Who do you know? Who do you know that's wandering around our world like sheep without a shepherd? I'm guessing you can come up with one name and there's a spot for it on your bulletin. You see, because Jesus says, be compassionate and be like the shepherd, be the protector. That's not the only thing that tells us to do. Matthew 14:14 says this. He says, when Jesus landed and he saw the large crowd, he had compassion on them and he healed their sick. Who do you know that needs healing or restoration? You see, now I know most of you are going, well, I'm not Jesus. I can't reach out and touch someone and heal them, but we can heal people. We can pray for them. That's why those cards that you turn in are so important, because we pray for them. We watch and see the need. Maybe you can't solve the physical need, but every single one of us can pray for those who have those kinds of needs. So compassion protects and compassion heals. I'm going to tell you something else. Compassion also feeds. And I'm not doing a very good job of pushing this, but you'll get it. It's in your bulletin. Compassion feeds. I love all the stories in Scripture where Jesus shows up and there's a meal. Have you ever noticed that? Every time Jesus shows up, there's a meal. And it's sort of a potluck. You just think that having a church potluck is about that being the easiest way to have a meal for a bunch of people. Well, I think it probably is, but just think about Jesus. You know, he's out in the wilderness. I love this. He says in Matthew 15, Jesus calls the disciples to him. He says, I have compassion on these people, for they've already been with me for 3 days, and they've had nothing to eat. How many of you are hungry just thinking about that? I don't want to send them away hungry. They may collapse on the way. Give them something to eat. And the disciples go into panic mode. There were obviously no women in the disciples. The women's group of the disciples would have figured this out in a heartbeat. It's true, isn't it? Andrew finally comes back and says to Jesus, well, Jesus, I found this little boy whose mother packed him a lunch and it had 5 little fish, and I'm thinking sardines, not salmon, and 2 loaves of bread, and I'm thinking roll instead of loaf. And Jesus says, cool. Watch what we can do. And you know how? And everybody ate. And they ate. It was like Thanksgiving, and they ate. Maybe like Super Bowl Sunday, and they ate. And then they collected the leftovers, and there was a basket of leftovers for every disciple. Jesus feeds. Compassion feeds. We live in a world where not everybody gets to eat. We live in a world where we sometimes throw more food away than we eat. I know all of the feeding arguments. None of them matter. I'm just going to tell you that. We can make excuses. Well, if the government would just do this. Have you seen our government at work lately? For the last 15 years, would you trust them to feed anyone? Jesus says to his disciples, he doesn't say, go see Caesar and work out a deal. He doesn't say, well, send them to the food stamp office. He says, give them something to eat because I have compassion on them. So what happens if we live with love and compassion? This is the good news part of the sermon. This is the good news because when we when we live with love and compassion, really cool things happen. For example, compassion brings vision. Listen to this. Jesus had compassion on them, and he touched their eyes, and immediately they received their sight, and they followed him. When we act with compassion, people will see us for who we are called to be. And they will follow Jesus with us. It happens every time. Compassion brings love back. It's like a circle. We start out loving people, so we work with compassion, and that action of compassion leads us back around to people understanding that we love them. So we can do it all again. And again. So Jesus got up, or Jesus tells the story. He says the young man got up and he went to his father, but while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. We know this story. It's the prodigal son story. The father was filled with compassion. And he ran down the road to meet him. And he hugged him because he loved him. And compassion does one more thing. When we live with compassion, not only does it bring vision, and not only does it circle back around to love, but it unites us as believers. It unites us as a congregation, and it unites us with other congregations who are working to do the same thing. Listen to this passage from Philippians chapter 2. If you have any encouragement from being united with Christ, if any comfort from his love, if any common sharing in the Spirit, if any tenderness and compassion, you're united. So let me ask a question. If we're really loving God and loving others, how else can we act? For we're commanded to live lovingly with compassion. And so it goes to that very last lines of the bulletin. Who do you know? Who do you know that's hungry? Who do you know that's lonely? Who do you know that's hurting? Who do you know that's sick? Who do you know? And by the way, that hunger thing, it isn't just about lunch. It might be a hunger of the Spirit. It might be a hunger of the soul. It might be a hunger for companionship. Who Do you know? Because that name that just came to you is your responsibility. Our responsibility. Live with love and compassion. Amen. I'm going to give that back to the person that should have it. Every day, every Sunday, we gather at this point with an invitation for people to give their lives to Christ, for people to make First Christian Church their church home, and we do that today. If this is a place that you feel loved and connected, we invite you to transfer your membership. We invite you to give your life through the good confession and baptism. And we invite you to do either of those things by coming forward as we sing our hymn of invitation. But please, hear this invitation first. I invite you to find someone to love with compassion this week. Touch somebody's heart. Would you stand with me as we sing?